I must admit to being a little bit intimidated being here. I recently celebrated 50 years of priesthood, and this is the first time. This is the first time I've preached at the Monday Novena, and I'm very conscious of the fact of the many great confreres who've preached from this pulpit and spread the devotion to Mary. But as I began to think about the topic assigned to me, the wedding feast at Cana, I realized that I'm a great fan of a Jesuit who took the name of Francis and speaks and acts like Vincent, Pope Francis. And as I searched on the internet, I came across his homily on the first day of his visit to Ecuador, just last July. And it was his thoughts on the wedding feast at Cana. And I said, this is what I would like to share with you today. And the first thing I learned from Pope Francis's homily was that Cana happens in each of our lives many times. Because he points out that wine is a sign of happiness, of love, and plenty. At some point in each of our lives, however, we find that there is no wine. We face the crisis of discovering we do not have enough wine. And so we turn to Mary and think about her role. But let us think first about the situations in which there is no wine in our homes. How many of our adolescents and young people sense that there is no joy or happiness found in their homes? He continues, how many women, sad and lonely, wonder when love left, when it slipped away from their lives? How many elderly people feel left out of family celebrations, cast aside and longing each day for a little love? This lack of wine can also be due to unemployment, illness, and difficult situations which our families may experience. Today, we have an opportunity to discover when Mary is at our side and have no wine, what she did. The first thing is that Mary is attentive in the course of the wedding feast. She's concerned for the needs of the newlyweds. She's not closed in on herself, worried only about her little world. Her love makes her outgoing towards others. She notices that the wine has run out. She's not a stereotypical demanding mother or a mother-in-law, a stereotypical mother-in-law who revels in our lack of experience, our mistakes, the things we forget to do. Mary is simply a mother. And let me quote from Pope Francis explicitly. I remember one time my mother was asked, which one of her 5 children, we have 5 brothers and sisters in our family, which one of her 5 children did she love most? And she answered, like my fingers. If you pinch my thumb, it will hurt, the same as if you pinch my pinky finger. A mother loves her children as they are, and in a family, brothers and sisters love each other as they are. No one is cast aside. Mary is the mother who pays attention to the needs of all her children. It's interesting if you think about the arguments in the scriptures All of the arguments that Jesus was involved in, he only lost two. The mother of the Syrophoenician woman, and to his own mother at the wedding feast at Cana. It says something about the power and love of mothers. What does Mary do? The second point that Pope Francis brings out is she approaches Jesus with confidence. That means that Jesus prays. She doesn't go to the steward immediately. She tells her son of the newlyweds' problem. And he seems to give her an off-putting response. What does it have to do with me? My hour has not yet come. But she places everything in the hands of God. It's interesting to note that Mary was part of that hour because she was able to turn a stable into a home for Jesus with poor swaddling clothes and the abundance of love. She accepted us as her sons and daughters when the sword pierced her son's heart. She teaches us to put our families in God's hands, to pray, to kindle the hope which shows us that our concerns are also God's concerns. Praying always lifts us out of our worries and concerns. It makes us rise above everything that hurts, upsets, or disappoints, and puts us in the place of others in their shoes. It may not change the situation, but prayer changes us. And Pope reminds us that the family is a school where prayer also reminds us that we are not isolated individuals. We are part of a family. And finally, Mary acts. She passes on the message. She goes to the stewards and says, "Do whatever he tells you." She learned that from God that in a family we learn how to ask without demanding, to say thank you as a genuine expression of gratitude for what we have been given, and to ask forgiveness when we have caused harm, when we fight, because in every family there are fights. Francis continues with his descriptions of the family. The family is the nearest hospital. When one is sick, they go to feel better. The family is the nearest hospital. The family is the first school for the young. Can we remember being taught our prayers? Most likely from our mother. The family is the best home for the elderly. Something that is challenged in so many quarters in the world today. So Mary pays attention. She brings the problems to Jesus, and she acts. And this story began because she noticed they had no wine. She left her concerns in God's hands and acted sensibly and courageously. But there was something else. She had a deep faith that the best is yet to come. The richest and most beautiful things are yet to come. We may not experience it today, or next week, or next month, or next year. But Mary is the witness that reminds us that we will one day experience the fullness of the wedding feast of heaven. Let us be attentive to our situation. Let us bring our troubles to Jesus, and let us do what we can, all the while that we look forward to the coming and fullness of the kingdom.